The DEC says that they have never seen anything like this before. In all, 8 unmanned vessels got loose, and you can see the rusty anchor right here behind me. Just the normal hustle and bustle outside of City Hall right now. We're still a few hours away from Eric Hawkins formally being sworn in as the next police chief, but something like waiting for a ceremony isn't exactly slowing him down. I want to show you how big this tree is. I'm about 5'1", so me standing right next to it, you can see that the trunk is clearly bigger than 5'1". One of the things that ultimately got this case to trial were claims that women were branded. Several women say that they were told that they would be getting a small tattoo, but instead they were branded with this image. The government says that it contains a K and an R, which obviously are Keith Ranieri's initials. Julie, NXIVM leader Keith Raniere was supposed to be sentenced in September of last year. Some of these victims have waited decades for Raniere to be brought to justice, and they've had to wait an additional extra year, in large part because of COVID-19 delays. This is actually a packet that they plan to bring to tonight's meeting. It includes photographs of what they say are the current conditions at the city's fire stations. Soon you'll be able to actually hear the busy beeping of these trucks as they're trying to prepare. The DOT Salt Garage here in Latham is officially open. It's going to be a very busy day for them.
I think they just started to care way too late.
Danielle Hilton has been a resident of the Grand Rehabilitation and Nursing at Barnwell for 5 years. This, she says, is the worst it's ever been.
We just kept hearing more and more cases of it and people dying.
118 of 216 residents have tested positive for COVID-19. At least 8 have died. One of those people was Hilton's friend.
She died in the hospital, and she died. She died alone.
Hilton says the facility is understaffed, undertested, and overwhelmed. She says people quit because of the outbreak.
You're just anxious all the time because of the trapped feeling and the abandonment.
Jay Lawrence, the corporate director of business development for the Grand, wouldn't comment on reported staffing shortages at Barnwell, but he says the staff is equipped with PPE and screened for symptoms when coming into the facility. But that answer doesn't satisfy local officials. Kinderhook supervisor Patsy Leader wants an investigation, going as far as calling this a cover-up.
I really feel that the state needs to wake up and smell the coffee and come down and help. Our main concern is to make sure that we have the right tools and the right people taking care of the situation.
What's also concerning those involved, the recent move of 37 Barnwell residents. Hilton shared these photographs of her Monday move to the Grand facility in Rome.
We found out the night before they moved us. It was a social worker that we'd never seen before.
According to state numbers, the Grand at Rome has had 8 COVID-related deaths. Other residents were taken to facilities on Long Island and in Dutchess County, where COVID deaths have also already been reported. 2 residents were released.
They wanted to, protect us and try to contain it.
The Grand says the move was in the best interest of the vulnerable population and that Barnwell is not going to close, but that isn't easing fears.
I'm afraid that they're just going to keep us in these places.
In Valatia, Jaclyn Cangro, Spectrum News. I'm Jaclyn Cangro in Albany, where school is back in session. Special education students are getting hands-on learning that they didn't necessarily see at the start of the pandemic.
Oh, it's 8:18. Come on. We got to look.
It's the start of a new routine for Xavier and his brother Michael.
Brush his teeth, take a shower. He eats, then we walk to the bus stop.
Sometimes they walk. Other times, they run.
He's ready, so looks like he's having fun.
95. With his temperature taken, Xavier is on his way to Montessori Magnet School. Educators say they're taking precautions to make sure that special education can be taught inside the classroom.
We had to develop cleaning plans and modify how we entered the school building, provided meals. It was an extensive process to be able to consider all those factors. But we were able to tackle it.
After several months of mostly online learning,
You're going to count the fish for me?
1, 2.
this is a welcome and needed change for teachers and students.
We have to have that personal connection.
Super duper work.
That's something Superintendent Kawita Adams says can't always be duplicated online.
Nothing takes the place of a quality teacher in the classroom and the supports that go along with that.
Online learning was beneficial for some of my students, but it didn't serve the needs of all of my population.
And what color is this fish here? It's orange.
And the effects of the extended school year are already being noticed by those close to Xavier.
Being in the class really did change. It made a difference, a big difference.
He has just grown in leaps and bounds in terms of becoming more outgoing and ready to participate.
Those are changes they hope become even more routine next school year. In Albany, Jaclyn Cangro, Spectrum News.
It would take the average fire department probably upwards of 2-3 days to actually search that whole thing, where it's 10 minutes.
The state's Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services looks for certain characteristics when recruiting.
Has a real lot of energy, has an exorbitant amount of energy.
They can't control him, they can't get him to do anything, he just drags them everywhere. That's what we want.
They've also got a keen sense of smell and 4 legs.
To me, they're doing things that most humans won't do, like climbing a ladder like they did, or walking across the bench.
I tell everybody they are irreplaceable, I am replaceable. That's really it. And they're the smart ones at the other end of the leash.
They might look calm now, but the dogs and their handlers undergo constant training, each in a specialized field. Some help to detect accelerants at fire scenes.
These dogs are trained to detect very, very minute quantities, down to about 20 microliters, which is about 1 drop out of an eyedropper.
Others learn to tackle strange surfaces in order to assist in search and rescue.
They literally will go over, through, around, under everything you put in front of them to find that live victim.
Which, of course, I had to try. So in the barrel I went, waiting for Keela to sniff, search, and eventually find me.
It's hide and seek, only they're always it.
They found me.
And if you think about that, there's a lot of people around here and they have to figure out which is the scent I can't see.
And it's not just the dogs doing the rescuing. Each of the canines was rescued themselves. 2-year-old Echo was found locally at the Mohawk Hudson Humane Society.
We save them so they can save New Yorkers.
It's a good opportunity for a dog that may be spending the rest of their life in a shelter someplace.
Dogs finding their purpose just in time to be rewarded by their favorite toy. In Albany, Jaclyn Cangro, Spectrum News.